Beatrice Elachi, Senate Majority Whip, welcome to the JSO interview.
Thank you, Malim.
It seems to me that as good a point as any to begin is for you to comment on the news of the moment, the barring of Kathy Kilonzo from the Makueni Senate race.
I think what I would say, Malimo, is that our judiciary has decided to really embrace what we show, transparency in terms of understanding first the law. And I think what the judges did, they used the simplest rule to ask one question: are you a registered voter? Because for you in Kenya to vie, you just need to be a registered voter. You can be an independent person when you're vying, you can be in a political party, but the key is, are you a registered voter? And I think that's where Kathy's case had a big challenge. And I believe they've done justice to her also, because indeed, if it would have gone through and she's given, I know she would still have found a lot of obstacles, and many people now raising many other issues and even personal issues. So I think it's okay, and
right.
I wish her well. Yeah.
Enough said. Let's go back to your job, Senate Majority Whip.
Yes.
What do you do?
A whip, first of all, being the first woman as a whip, can be a bit challenging, but of late I have come to appreciate and be humbled that indeed when you're a whip, the senators do also respect that there's an institution where we have a whip who, one, will ensure we are in the House, two, will assist the leader of majority in pushing the same agenda of the government, and three, whenever the leader of majority and the deputy leader are not in the House, then you take over and stand in for government.
Do you see yourself as part of an old people's home, Nyumba ya Wazee, in the Senate? Well,
first of all, Mwalimu, you know, when you used to teach us, Wazee are one of those people who used to give us wisdom. So if the lower house thought that it's Nyumba ya Wazee, I think they looked at these are Yusuf Haji. He has walked a journey with four governments in his life, and therefore he's experienced, he understands. But the best thing is that we also have young people, very young. We have a senator from Nandi, Senator Wasin Gishu, we have Lesuda. These are young people who are also telling the young, you can join in the scholars and learn a lot. So the Nyumba of Wazee has good scholars, and as we are learning a lot.
I want to put it to you that you, as both houses, have drawn attention to yourselves for all the wrong reasons. And let's stick to the Senate first of all.
Yes.
It seems to me that one of the things that you wanted to do is to operate from a really nice place. KICC for you was some kind of underground garage, and you were much happier to be taken across to a hotel, say like the Hilton or the Intercontinental.
I wouldn't say we really said we want to be taken to Intercontinental, but I think also we were trying to challenge one thing, that Kenyans passed a constitution and it was promulgated, and the structures were there, and therefore I believe at that time the government knew very well, come the day we do elections, the structures are going to change, we'll have a bicameral house, and therefore we'll have two chambers. And it was one way of raising a flag and saying, look here, we've come, we are not even prepared to start the journey. But I want to thank also the Jubilee government, because when we looked at it, we said, no, we have a county hall that is going on, we have a contractor on site, he's doing his best to ensure we have the chamber, and it's going to be one of the best chambers, and I believe that's where the Senate is going to stay again for a while, to move now to the new chambers. But the most important thing also is when you want people to work, I believe you have to give them a conducive and a better environment for them to work.
Right.
And that was challenging.
We go back to this notion, again, a criticism, in that you, as majority whip, are the school prefect, make sure everybody's there on time. but also that they toe the party line. Now, the press would have it that somebody like Honourable Murkomen is not towing the Jubilee party line. Would you say that you've refused to bring such people to book?
First of all, I would say the whip is a prefect, but is not a prefect who has to ensure that you come to the house. The whip is there to ensure the agenda, and if we want to vote, then we vote and pass the agenda.
Right.
Therefore, in one word, Mwalimu,
right,
is that I try to manipulate, or not even manipulate, but ensure my agenda as government goes through. But for Murkomen, I think he has not, he's rightly, what he's doing is even defending the Jubilee government. Because he knows the first thing...
I referred to the perception being put across by the press.
Yes.
Naughty boy needs to come in here and be disciplined.
No, he's not...
Closed-door meetings
in fact,
with William Ruto, closed-door meetings with the president, behave or else. And I'm saying you ought to know something about that by the very nature of your job.
And I'm saying, in fact, he has saved the Jubilee government in terms of reminding us that we committed ourselves during the campaigns that devolution is our baby and we are going to take care of it. And being the chairman of that committee, he's like a minister. Therefore, you have to stand and use the law, but don't be taken away with the politics that are being carried, but stand firm and just advise the law says this. And I think that's what Murkomen has done to the end. And indeed, Jubilee, we need to thank him for that, because I know if Murkomen did not stand with the other senators of Jubilee, then this would have been a CORD agenda, and it would have changed so much and become very different, and today we'll be talking very differently. So we need to thank him for that.
The mere fact that you mention CORD agenda, you draw attention to another area in which you seem to have failed the masses, and that is that you are spending all your time engaged in supremacy battles. Who is the upper house? Who is the lower house? Who, when the Constitution is quite clear as to the mandate, what are you fighting over? What's the big crux? What would take you to court to make sure things happen? What are you unhappy about?
First of all, going to court was for an opinion, and it's an advisory opinion. It's very different the way the perception is being told that we took the executive to court. No, we never took the executive to court. We looked at ourselves as the third arm of government. We do legislation, and if the bicameral house cannot agree, the Constitution is clear. You go to the Supreme Court, you're given an advice, and you use that advice now to strengthen both houses, but to work also together and ensure now the supremacy battle is not there. But also the supremacy battle, don't forget, Mwalimu, these are politicians. And I think for me, I look at them individually. The supremacy battle becomes individual, where I want to please my master, which is wrong, because my master expects me to do the right thing to ensure Kenyans are getting service. And I think that's where we went wrong as politicians in the house. That we thought, when you fight this battle, you are pleasing the president. No. We are hurting the president. We need to do it knowing, and that's what the speaker must understand from the National Assembly. In the end of the day, whom do you work for? Right. And what does the president want to achieve? And I think that's the most important thing.
With respect, but again, well, let's hear what's being said out there by people. These supremacy battles are based on this wonderful phrase, the tyranny of numbers, that from now onwards we are going to have a dictatorship emanating from Central Province. You're a member of the Alliance Party of Kenya.
Yes.
Is that a view to which you would subscribe?
No, it's not a view that I will subscribe to, because one, the tyranny of numbers is not only from Central Province. Two, this is a Jubilee government that went all over the country, and therefore we have members from all over the country who are our members. What we need to ask ourselves, and I know after 100 days, this is something I believe, we will work around it and say the tyranny of numbers does not suit in the supremacy battle we have, because both houses have tyranny of numbers, but from one side, which is Jubilee. And therefore, we don't need to fight. And therefore, the individualism that is in us should come out, and we need to remember what the president told us when he started. I think his first meeting with the Jubilee members was, the issue of I is gone. Today, we start working for Kenyans, and every achievement is we. And so when I'm addressing, it's we, for the benefit of all Kenyans. And I think if the individual members will get
Senator,
that and remember that.
With respect, we'd look at the idea of, if you're drawing a graph with appointments and what are called plum jobs, key jobs, would you honestly put hand to heart and say this is an attempt to spread things around? Or are we talking that because everybody's a technocrat, the best people have been appointed to do the best job?
I would say, one, when Kenyans voted for this constitution, and they should understand, this is a presidential system. We've come out from a parliamentary, and it's a very challenging system if you can't understand it. That sometimes in most of the things, the majority will always have their way. But at the same time, when you look at the candidate and those who have been appointed, I believe in their endeavors of work, they have done work for this country. When you want to tell me, for example, the Cabinet Secretary of Roads, I mean, he did a fantastic job during Kibaki's time. And therefore, you cannot also bring in a system where you say, because you are within this system, and therefore you can't work in this system, and at the same time you're saying we should not bring politics into the public service. And therefore, for me, if given a chance, the cabinet that we have now can deliver to Kenyans whatever we promised them. I believe that. And it's not just the cabinet, it is the whole structure of the Jubilee government. We have to focus with one agenda, delivering for Kenyans. It's very important.